Her favorite weakness. Jason wasn't the loudest man in the room. He never had to be. While other guys laughed too hard, flexed their cars, their jokes, their money, he carried himself with a calm certainty. His steps were measured, his gaze steady, his words few but sharp. And the funny thing? That silence drew more attention than 1,000 clever lines. Emma noticed it first at a friend's gathering. He leaned against the wall, watching, listening, smiling only when it mattered. She hated how her eyes kept drifting back. Something in that stillness made her restless. He wasn't chasing, wasn't performing. And somehow, that pulled her in. They spoke later. She teased, he smirked. When she tried to test him with playful sarcasm, expecting the usual scramble for validation, he just paused, looked at her, said nothing. The silence should have been awkward, but instead it burned. For the first time, she felt her energy tilt, her feminine spark bending toward something stronger. A week later, they sat across from each other at a cafe. Emma wasn't herself that day. Work had drained her, and she wore her exhaustion like a mask. When he asked how she was, she muttered the usual, "I'm fine." Every man before him would have nodded, changed the subject, maybe tossed in a joke. But Jason just leaned back, eyes steady, and said, "No, you're not. Talk to me when you're ready." It broke her, not in a bad way, but in the way walls collapse when someone finally sees through them. She didn't need to explain every detail, didn't need to dress her feelings in polite words. He understood without her performance. And that, she realized, was more intimate than any touch. Confidence, silence, understanding. They weren't tricks, just pressure points most men never pressed. And with each one, he pulled her deeper without even trying. The irony was, Jason never acted like he was winning. He wasn't strategizing, wasn't working hard to impress. He simply lived in a state most men avoided, grounded, calm, unshaken. When she tried to spark conflict, he didn't react. When she filled space with nervous chatter, he let silence stand. And when she sought reassurance, his presence, not his words, gave it. That night, as she lay in bed replaying their time together, she laughed to herself. She'd always claimed men were complicated, hard to trust, hard to need. Yet here she was, restless in the sheets, thinking about a man who barely lifted a finger. The truth stung in the sweetest way. Women aren't impossible to understand. Their weaknesses aren't flaws, just hidden doors. And Jason had the keys: confidence that didn't beg, silence that spoke louder than words, and a rare ability to see what she didn't say. It wasn't magic, it wasn't manipulation. It was simply masculine strength meeting feminine surrender. And once a woman tastes that, she doesn't forget.